as Carla was saying, I've been doing this for a long time, and I sort of approach social media from a very non-social stance. So bear that in mind when I talk about social media. So one of the things that I love about social media is getting people to come to my website from social media. So my goal has always been to get people to come to my website. So years ago, back in the early days of social media, it was really Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn that really were the dominant players. And I really liked those three, more Twitter and LinkedIn than Facebook. But what I liked about them was that it was easy to build a following. The rule back then was you just follow enough people and enough people will follow you back. That was just so easy. And then you build your following by following other people. It was great. So I really loved that. That's the 2008, 2010 kind of way to market. You just build up a huge following and then you hopefully get a huge following coming to your website. Now things have changed. Things are moving in a different way. So what's happening now is you get more of a mobile experience happening with social media. So instead of just going to a website like Twitter or Facebook, people are not even having to go to the web at all to be social. Twitter, you can just do status updates through the Twitter app. Facebook the same way. But there's now ones that don't even require a website at all. So I'm going to show you some of the ones that were popular and they're still popular now, like Snapchat and Vine. Now, if you go to their websites, you're just downloading their app. So it's not like the traditional social media where we think of a website. It's more of a mobile application that allows people to interact socially, but through their cell phones. So if you don't have I only got a smartphone last year. I was like really slow on getting the smartphone technology. I feel sort of lame for not being cool that way. But I was always a desktop person. I sit in front of my computer all day. So the movement is really to mobile. And that's what really 2014 will be all about, is these mobile social sites or social technologies or social apps. So I'm going to show you a couple that I think are really cool, that are really in the now. Snapchat is really one I don't recommend. Snapchat is more for the teens and the early 20s. It's that demographic. They're not a bad demographic if you have products to target them with, but it's really for those kind of savvy people and their friends. So it's not really a great one to work with. The cool thing about Snapchat, though, is it solves a big problem that happens with social media. And the big problem was this. If I put out a post or put out something, a picture of myself, I do something incredibly stupid, well, that post all of a sudden gets spread all over the place, and it's like, it's horrible. You can't bring it, you can't take that back. It's out there forever, and your future employers can see it. All this wonderful stuff can go horribly wrong for your life. So with Snapchat, though, you can take a picture or video, and it goes out to only the contacts you tell it to go out to, and it only lives on those people's devices for the length of time you tell it to live for. So it might be that you let it live for just one viewing, or just a very short time on their device. So they view it and then it disappears. It gets deleted from the servers everywhere. So that's the kind of nice thing about Snapchat. It doesn't have any life, the posts that you put out. So you don't have to worry about them biting you later. The other one that's kind of similar in terms of allowing people to share photos and more videos is Vine. And Vine is becoming huge. And there's some people that have really taken advantage of Vine. What it is you create 7-second videos, and they're looping videos. So it's almost like I always think of, when I think of looping videos, I always think of animated GIFs from the, way back in the day. And the great thing about animated GIFs, it's sort of like a joke that repeats itself. So when people create these videos, they're 7 seconds, they're very short, but some kind of catchy thing. And there's some people that have done extremely well using Vines. One guy, he did something really funny, and this is a little racy, so hopefully you guys are going to forgive me on this. He's a black gentleman, and he said, "This is my my visit to a white community," and he takes off his shirt and he runs around naked in this white community screaming, and that's his 7-second video. Okay, but that video got 200,000 views on YouTube because it was just so crazy and so weird. And also I think it was around the same time when the Trayvon Martin case happened, so a little bit controversial too. So those kind of things do really well. It's like a very viral kind of thing to do. And from that, he created a career from just from creating these 7-second videos. And people actually will create collections of these 7-second videos and make their own videos from it, where it's more of a long play video. But it's amazing how powerful it is that you can do within 7 seconds. You can convey a message and make it a viral message and really get people's attention. It's always hard for businesses to leverage that kind of thing, but it can be done. Where you put your product into that 7 seconds, but you got to be really subtle about it to make it viral. Because if it's too heavy-handed, it's gonna backfire. But it can be done, and Vine works very well. It's a nice app which basically allows you to create the videos well, edit them, and publish them very easily. So it's a very nice little social media site that's sort of coming up from, it really became popular last year and growing to stardom nowadays in terms of social media sites. I want to show you some social sites now that were popular last year and are really getting into their own now, and that are more catered to niche things. This is the other thing that social media is happening with social media. As social media grows and there's more and more people involved and more companies developing social platforms, what's happening is they realize that you can't be the next Facebook because it's already been done. And what you need to do is become the next Facebook of a niche. So what's happening is you get sites like Houzz, which focuses on a very niche group. It's kind of like Pinterest. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Pinterest, but Pinterest is it was a site where you could pin photos that you find on the web, and you could create like a bulletin board of all the photos that you found. Well, Houzz does the same thing, but instead of being just random photos from the web, you can pin collections of photos that relate to a particular room in your house, so your bathroom or bedroom or kitchen. So you can take photos that you found and you post them. You create your portfolio of photos and you post them onto Houzz, and people can pin them or add them to their collections. The great thing about that is if you're into home renovations or into anything where you're doing something where people would like to see it and see your quality of your work, it's a really good way to promote it. I met a group of women who I was speaking to about social media, and they just love this site. They get 90% of their business just from this one site because it was so focused. It's very social, and it's very focused on that one topic that was their whole business. So the great thing was people not only will pin your things, but they'll share it with their friends. So it's like your clients are now becoming your promoters as well. Very nice site. And you'll see more sites like this as 2014 and 2015 roll around, where people are going to be creating these niche sites to promote niche topics. So really I really recommend looking at Houzz. It's a really great site. I'm going to show you Pinterest. Here's my Pinterest. So if you click into, this is just an example. So this is the old style where you have like, okay, so you see a list of all the things that I've pinned over the years, and it's really great. The reason I love Pinterest, and this is sort of an old school one, but it was the fastest growing social network last year. So now it's really come into its own. It's as one of the dominant players, and that's what happens with social media. You'll get, so for 2014, expect some big players to disappear and some big players to really have the market sort of realized. And Pinterest is at that stage where it's realizing its market for this year, and it's really come into its own place. So the great thing about Pinterest is it allows you to not only pin an article or a picture or video, it allows people to then go into that page where that video came from, and you can add comments about it. So Instagram, for example, as a contrast, allows you to send photos, and it's all through iPhones. Well, Pinterest takes that one step further and allows you to comment about the photos with and having it connected to a website. It just adds that level of connection to the photo so that it's connected to a website. So it's a really great way to create a really great image. You can connect it to your website, and people can start being driven to your website. Personally, I get maybe about 2% of my traffic from Pinterest, which is not a huge amount, but I get about 2,000 unique a day. So it works out to being, a few visitors every day. And I will get some people actually converting to leads. So I love Pinterest, and it's really coming into its own right now. But I'm going to show you another one that it was popular last year and really has grown into its own thing, is Google+. And the reason it's growing into its own thing is actually because of the way Google is promoting it. So this is like Google finally maybe got it right in terms of social media. And this was another experiment. It had a whole bunch of experiments to try to get into social media. One of them was Google Buzz, Orkut, and then there was Google Wave. It tried so many different things to try to get into the social media realm, and it wasn't very good at it. Well, Google+, it's really putting a lot of work into it to try to make it the next social media. And it's doing a few things where it's leveraging what it already has to make it sure that it is the next social media thing. One of the things is and this is why I say it's important for 2014, is Google+ now impacts your rankings. So if all of a sudden, if you have a website and it has some social activity but no Google+, well, it's not going to do that well compared to a site that has lots of Google activity, which is having people plus the pages so that they go on the page and they say that they really like it, they give it that Google+, and it will boost it in the rankings. There's actually whole web marketing services just around that one field of getting Google Pluses for website pages. It's crazy, but it's become so important for Google rankings. So that's one of the ways that they've leveraged what they have from their own main site, Google, to basically empower Google Plus. Now people are like really having to look into Google Plus because it does impact their rankings. Another thing that they've done in order to try to encourage people to use Google Plus is they force people, if you want to comment now on YouTube, well, you have to have a Google Plus account. You have to be set up in Google Plus. They also connected it with email. So now your Gmail and Google Plus are now connected. So what happens is that forces all their YouTube users to now start using Google Plus, and it forced all their email people by default to have Google Plus, which is about 300 million people. So it became very powered up by these kind of initiatives to really force people to use it. And Google Plus has a lot of great features. So it's kind of like Facebook, but its philosophy was a little bit different than Facebook. When Facebook came out, it was really about just putting everything out there, getting all your information out there, and having no real control over who gets to see what of your profile. Facebook has since changed because it's realized people were sharing stuff that was kind of inappropriate for different groups of people. So with Google Plus, what they did was they created the concept of circles. And the way a circle works is we have our circle of friends, we have our circle of family, we have our circle of business associates, we have our circle of people at work, and we might create our own circles that have very niche topics. So my group of friends that I meet at this one event, and you can create a circle just for that specific niche of friends. So what you can do is when you share something, you can say, well, I only want to share it with this one group of this one circle. So that way, instead of sending out your photos of the crazy stuff you did at the bar to your mom and dad and your grandmother and all those people, well, you just send it out to your group of friends that would probably be appropriate for. So you can really save yourself a lot of grief if you use the circles properly and share your stuff with some kind of understanding of how you use circles. So circles are very powerful, and it really kind of defined the way Google Plus worked, that it gives you that control of who sees the message. Another thing that was great about Google Plus is they have the concept of Hangouts, and it's a really kind of huge thing. It's basically like all these things like Skype or GoToMeeting or I don't know. There's a whole bunch of places where you do video conferencing. Well, Google Plus has that as a feature where you can basically create what's called a Hangout. You invite a few people to it, and then you can basically do video conferencing. Very nice feature. And they make it really nice because it's integrated with all their other Google tools. You can create calendared events where you can have like a meeting all set up, and you just basically put it on your calendar, and people get invited. They show up. It's really nice feature. So Google Plus really coming into its own now, and it's going to be huge this year because Google is forcing it to be huge. So definitely spend some time. Make a Google Plus business page. That's my big tip for this year. Make a Google Plus business page. It will serve you so well. But I'm going to show you now some things that are kind of coming into they're just coming into the picture, and they're probably not going to be popular this year, but more something to look forward to in 2015. And these are sites like Impossible. I really like this site. It's a really cool technology, and what it is the idea that you can do two things. You can wish for things, and you can say that you can grant wishes. So the idea is if you need a service, you can say, I wish I had somebody that could build me a website, okay? And then all of a sudden that post gets shared, and people will try to grant your wish, which is to build you a website. Well, you can also say, I can offer the ability to build your website. So it's a really great place for people to do those kind of business engagements where they say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of service and I can fulfill this kind of service. Really great niche social site where people can promote their businesses and really engage with people that are looking for business offerings. It's a really, really great one. There's a few others, but they're only American focused, so they're only available in the U.S. This one's, available in the around the world, so I kind of like it. It's one to definitely take a look into, and it's called Impossible, and it's still in beta, but it's something that I think will become an important one going forward. Probably in 2015, it's going to probably get rid of that beta and just become its own little site. So that's one to watch out for. Another one to watch out for is Mobily. It's trying to become a visual search engine, and it's trying to become kind of like a social search engine. So it's another one to watch out for, where the whole idea is this is for the future. So I've kind of, hopefully I explained this well. I sort of showed you where social media was in the past. It was with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and it's really shift to more niched and mobile sites, social activity, and now it's moving towards social search. So the big players now are Facebook is trying to develop something, Twitter is trying to develop something, and Google is trying to develop the concept of social search. And it's really going to be hot. Maybe we're talking maybe 2 years in the future. So this is something you'll be like, oh, Alan, what are you talking about? But 2 years from now, you'll be like, oh, everyone's using social search, because it is where the future is going with this technology. So Mobily is trying to connect into that. It's trying to become mobile social search, where you basically are leveraging your connections to sort of guide you in terms of the way you search on the web. So now it's your friends are recommending certain sites, and your friends are sort of guiding you to help you find things that you wouldn't have been able to find without their help. So that's the idea of social search, that you're leveraging your friends to help you search, help you define your search a bit better. So that's where the technology is moving towards. I'm going to just promote my own little thing just a little bit. I'm going to show you a technology I worked on. It's a little bit more primitive. We don't have the budget some of these other guys have. They have millions of dollars. We don't have that budget. But it's the same idea. And this is something I developed 4 years ago because I really saw the way that the technology was going. What we did was we said, hey, people are being controlled by Google. Google, when you do a search on Google, it looks like you're getting lots of results. Like you do a search for your name and you get like 1 million results, and you think, wow, there's so much content out there with my name in it. However, if you actually try to click through those results, you only get a very small sampling of the web. You might only get 10 pages deep of content or 20 pages deep. It doesn't actually show you everything. And what that does is it really kind of annoys people, because what happens is people can only see a very small sampling of the web. And Google really controls what sites it shows. And you have to follow Google's guidelines in the last 3 years in terms of what it says it will show and what it won't show has really become strict. So sites that used to be really great sites have been destroyed overnight by Google's rule changes. So what happens is now you have like groups of people, well, how am I going to find those sites that I liked? Because they're no longer available on Google. So what Yoop does, and that's with this technology that I developed 4 years ago with my brother, is it allows people to create their own list of sites that they like. So I can say, hey, I like these types of sites, and I can create my own search engine just for those sites. And it's called an index. You create an index of all those sites you like. You can search within those sites, and you can find things easily with the group of sites you like. So instead of searching through 20 billion sites, well, now you're searching through maybe 100 sites that you like and that you've defined as being great sites. Now here's where the social part comes in, is all of a sudden you have your own collection of sites that you like and that you can search through, but you might have friends that have similar tastes, and they can create their own collections of sites they like, and you can mix the two. And that's called a crawl mix, where you mix these two versions of the web and you put them together, and then you can do a search of those sites. So now you can share your indexes with other people, and you can share your search with other people. So that's where the social element comes in, that you basically now you can share your version of the web with other people's versions of the web and really kind of get a picture based on the social element of things that you want to see. And you'll find when you do social search that even though it's using a smaller sampling of the web, that it actually will find things that other search engines that search the whole web won't be able to find. Because what's happening is now you're getting people that will say, hey, I found this really great site. You know, that site might be a brand new website. It might not be promoted in any way, but somebody found it, and now it's a hidden gem that gets easily mixed into your collection of gems. So that's the real power of these kind of social search engines, because it's able to find things in a very different way. It's leveraging actual people finding the stuff for you and mixing it all together. So look to Yoop. This is my project. Look to Yoop being a powerful thing in the next couple of years. It's still a few years out, but it's all developed. It's just getting that money to really push it, and that's going to happen in the next few years. But look to that whole concept of social search. So Twitter is also making a real big move towards social search, and they're coming out with their own thing as well. So you can see that that's going to be the trend of 2015, 2016. So that's sort of how social has evolved. It's sort of been from moving from websites to mobile, now to social search, and it's a really nice flow that you'll see with this trend. And if you look at things historically, you'll see that nice flow in terms of the way social media is evolving. And I'm sure that by next year there'll be 20 other social sites that we didn't even know about now that will become huge, and they'll have their own takes on how social should be done. So it's one of those fields where it's hard to be an expert of all of it, and hard to be able to keep up with it all. But it's a really interesting field because it does change so quickly. And if you have questions, I will try to answer them. I might not be familiar with every social site because there are so many, but I will try to answer your questions, and I'll let Carla come back